There still are downside risks, of course, and you just laid out probably the biggest ones. I actually asked the CFO on the call last night about this UK digital services tax. Facebook hasn't figured it out, and they've got until April of 2020 to figure that out. So, look, there's still worse that could happen. Now, we've also got these elections coming up in very short order, and if there's an issue during these elections, if there's a credibility, safety, security issue with the Facebook platform, despite all the amount of, despite all the attention, the resources, the dollars that they put into securing that platform, that issue comes up again during these elections, this stock will go lower. He's acknowledging, Zuckerberg is acknowledging how expensive it is to keep bad actors off of this platform. I don't think they realized that a year and a half ago, 2 years ago. They're realizing it now. The real question is going to be, will next year really be the peak investment year? That's kind of the hope that's in the stock. We think that's reality, but that's an unknown.
You know, Mark, it's amazing after the slew of negative stories that the company has been through. I mean, do you ever wonder what it would take for advertisers to truly get repelled? I mean, to just say, you know what, we're going to start revisiting our entire social media strategy if this isn't enough.
Well, I think a decline in users. So the one saving grace maybe out of the quarter for Facebook, Snap continued to show declining DAUs, monthly average users. Twitter did too, and that's not the case at Facebook. They still showed growth. Now, it came in less monetizable areas. They singled out 3 countries, India, Indonesia, and the Philippines. Growth in the U.S. and in Europe was essentially flattish, or there wasn't any growth in those 2 markets. If you actually had a decline in the number of users at Facebook, I think you'd see advertisers pull dollars away. I don't think that's going to happen, but that would be one downside risk.
Hard to walk away from 2 billion people using your platform. Mark, the other big takeaway from the earnings call and from Mark Zuckerberg was that stories is the future. Those posts of photos and videos that only last 24 hours on Instagram, we all use them. On WhatsApp, people are using them. What's the implication there for advertisers? And can Facebook successfully move them from the news feeds to the stories? And does that make as much money?
Well, you know, one implication, ironically, is that Evan Spiegel was right at Snapchat, that's the future of social media. I'm overstating the case, but it's very interesting to hear Zuckerberg essentially say that the market wants to move towards those ephemeral snaps, if you will. They just have those things that go scroll at the top of your news feed. So I think what Facebook needs to prove, and one of the most, I think, encouraging comments from the call last night, although no data to back it up, the encouraging comments was that overall engagement is rising. In other words, people aren't just dropping newsfeed usage and just going to stories usage. Their overall usage is rising. If that's true, that means there's more impressions. And over time, Facebook's going to solve this. The history of the internet, having covered this for 20 years, generally people have worked out and figured out monetization, whether it was Google, Yahoo, or Facebook, you know, along the way, they figured out monetization if they had the users and the engagement. And so what Zuckerberg is saying is they've got the engagement trends they're building, and they will, over time, figure out monetization. And my guess is that they will. Real quickly, he makes this analogy with desktop-mobile transition that the company went through, you know, 5 to 10 years ago. I think this kind of transition is much smaller, much easier to work through than that transition was. That's one of the reasons we're bullish on the stock here.